Two in the house. Okay. Oh, perfect. All right. We live. Live, everybody. What's up, Stephanie? How's everyone going today? I'm gonna try and give Instagram a little more love, because I feel like I've been giving all the love to Facebook. Facebook's awesome. I like Facebook. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm older, right? Instagram is more like younger, but welcome everyone. Josie, Audra. Audra's always there. Love Audra. Jen, how's it going, everyone? Welcome. Hope everybody's having a good day. I know we're starting a little late. I apologize. I got caught up sucking fat. Not many times you hear someone give that excuse, right? But I hope you guys are having a great day. Let's see. Hey, I know I put the link already on Facebook, but can someone make a comment on Facebook with the link? You're about to do it? Okay. All right. I'm tired, everyone. It was a rough day sucking fat. Like you guys may not realize how difficult this job actually is. It's really hard, and the getting good results, getting great results is it's a real challenge, and I work extremely hard. My hands are hurting. I'm like sweating all day, and I'm like out of breath. But you know, I heard this quote the other day that really hit home to me, and it made sense that today's pain is tomorrow's strength. And really, you know, I was thinking I could really apply that to pretty much everything in my life. You know, even like when I was younger, I used to get yelled at by my parents or my coach. It's like the pain that you're experiencing today, they're getting yelled at, and it's the frustrations and the anger. But those are the lessons, and those are the things that you remember, and that it gives you the strength tomorrow, and it makes you stronger and better. And so that's really, the thing that when I was thinking about people were concerned about, you know, pain or discomfort, and it's like if you're gonna work out, the pain that you feel in working out is the strength that you feel tomorrow, the strength that you appreciate later in your life. And so the lessons that you learn, the failures we call failures, most people call failures, but those are your lessons. That pain, that suffering that you may have experienced, that's the strength that you're gonna feel tomorrow. What's up, Matt? Okay. It's not by watching the clock. That's right. Candy lover. What's up, Angelica? Angelica, we love Angelica. Everybody loves Angelica. It's crazy. Everybody on Instagram knows Angelica, and if you don't, you guys should be following her. She's awesome. She's you guys, we use her photos a lot, and there's lots of videos with her pictures in it as well. So Candy Lover 89, Angelica, she's on Facebook, Instagram, and she has a YouTube channel now. And her YouTube channel is awesome because she shows videos of her actual procedure, but more importantly, she shows the videos of her the pre-procedure, kind of her thought process going into it, as well as the post-op, and how she did afterwards. And so she's really documented things well. So we really appreciate her. She's amazing, but more importantly, she's got amazing results. And I know that she's active. And if you guys want to connect with her and ask her questions, she's available and she does respond. So definitely hit her up. And if you don't follow her yet, you should definitely follow her. Women, she does the makeup stuff. Amazing makeup. With this Halloween stuff, you saw her incredible talent. She does some really cool stuff. I really liked the one that she did with it was like the plastic surgery day, and we put it on our page, but it was like it appeared as if she had cuts all over her, and It appeared that she had, weird plastic surgery, like botched plastic surgery. So that was pretty cool for Halloween, I thought. She's very creative, and she also sells wigs. I know wigs are like crazy popular right now. Because why do your hair when you could just put a new one on, right? It makes sense to me. I like guys. Guys shave their heads so they don't have to do anything, and I just get out of the shower and go. It makes it easy. Let's see. Yes, physical pain is very tiring. But you know what? What I found is like the harder I work, the easier things get. And everything. I mean, like with the liposuction, obviously we're talking about liposuction. So with liposuction, I've worked exceedingly hard, like pushed myself beyond normal limits. And, I find that the harder I push, the easier it gets, and the more I can do, the faster I can go, the better results I get. And that's really the goal here. So you gotta start applying these small nuggets, these small lessons into your life, and that's really the key. Most of us have heard these things, and we probably know these lessons, but it's one thing to hear the lessons, life lessons. It's one thing to hear them, but it's a totally different ballgame to actually implement them in your life. And even for me, it's like I speak about this stuff all day long, and I was just talking to my partner the other day, and I was telling him, uh, it's my business partner. I told him that I speak about this stuff all day long, and I'm conscious and aware, and it's easy for me to see it in other people, but then I don't realize the things that I do, and you know most of us are operating on autopilot. So the human mind tends to go on autopilot. We create these patterns in our lives that they're good because they make things easier. So like the little things, like for example, like when you drive, most of us are able to do multiple things while we're driving, and it's fairly safe. We can listen to the radio, we can have a conversation, and reality is sometimes you don't even realize how you got to where you were going because it's just like it's autopilot. You just do what your brain knows, your body knows what to do. So because we're on autopilot, a lot of the times the problem becomes when that autopilot is malfunctioning, meaning it's not serving us. So the patterns that we've created in our life are not serving us, and they're not doing us well. And if you don't recognize those things, then your life can spiral downward. So it's really important to recognize and become conscious and aware of your patterns. And everybody has their patterns. Everybody has their habits, and most people don't realize that. I mean, simple things like, I'll tell you this: if you're married, my wife and I, we seem to have the same arguments. And I realized this the other day, and this is what I was talking to my partner about, is that with my wife, we seem to have the same arguments about the same things, is because there's a trigger. I get a trigger. I have a trigger, and when she says certain things, it triggers a reaction, and I don't even think about it. I don't even think about it. It just triggers. So the same thing will happen, like when you get like stress eating. Something happens and you're triggered. It's a trigger, and then you go into your habit, and so they call this the habit loop. So the triggers that you have, if you can recognize the bad things that you're doing, you have to then become conscious of the trigger. What is triggering you to do the thing that you don't want? For example, if you eat when if you had a bad day at work and your habit is to come home and drink a beer or have some wine or eat some candy or go out for ice cream or whatever the habit is, um, it's about recognizing what the trigger is, then finding a different habit that will also give you a positive result. So what does that mean? Now, I personally, I like to be active. So um, one of the things might be like, say, like, and I don't smoke cigarettes, but like, let's just assume that I did, because it's a good, I think people can relate to this concept. So, like, let's say that every time I get stressed out, I decide I wanted to go have a cigarette because it's relaxing, that's what people believe. So the trigger is the stress, The habit is the smoking of cigarettes, and the positive that I would get out of it is I feel relaxed. Okay, so the question is once that you see the trigger doesn't ever change. The triggers are there and they happen regardless. The habit is what you need to change. The action is what you need to change. And now the reward that you get should be something that is still positive, but it's a pot like so. When I smoke a cigarette, or when an individual would smoke a cigarette, it would be the reward is the relaxation. Cigarettes they have a relaxing sense in your body. In fact, um, many people may not know this, but nicotine is the number one antidepressant in the world. And so nicotine is typically when people get depressed, they're using nicotine or alcohol. There's a lot of people that use alcohol as an antidepressant. They self-medicate. So you have to figure out what your trigger is, figure out what the reward is, and trying to find a habit that will meet the your standards to give you the same type of reward. So for me, I like to run. So my trigger might be the stress, and instead of doing something negative like smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, or eating ice cream, I decide to go for a walk, right? Or some people I've heard, like they'll do jumping jacks, or they'll do, sit-ups or push-ups, or something positive where when you do it, it's going to lead to it'll make you feel better, and it gets that energy out, and you realize that these thoughts they come into our mind and then they just pass right out. If you can hold off, if you can get over that urge, and usually it's only a few minutes, if you can get over that urge, then the thought, the urge will pass. So you just got to get past it, and so you just have to figure out ways for yourself to change. So I mean, these are simple little things. Now again, way easier for me to say than for actually doing. But it's something that you have to become conscious and aware of. And so you may have heard the term awakening, that you're becoming more aware and conscious. And this is just it's just understanding these little intricacies of our lives, and what we do, and understanding yourself, understanding who you are and what you do and why you do what you do. And if you can start to understand more of these things, you can actually start to change and manipulate and reprogram yourself. Because the reality is most of us were programmed as childs. We were programmed in school. For example, why do we think that a 9 to 5 job is normal? We've been programmed that way. It's become a norm in our society, but it's not. It doesn't have to be that way. I just saw an article today that Microsoft has tested out a 4-day work week, and they found really high productivity. So maybe a 5-day work week's not right. So why did we have the 5-day work week? Most people don't know. Most people don't understand why we did that. So I'll tell you why. I just actually watched a video on this of why we have a 5-day work week. Back in the days, in the 1800s, most people were farmers, and so they worked the land. Well, working the land is a full-time 24/7, like whenever you need to be there, you have to be there, and you're working your ass off, right? It's really hard. You're working 7 days a week. There's no break. You can't take off, and certainly no vacation, because if you left your farm, then who's going to take care of the animals? Who's going to do what needs to be done? There's things that need to be done. So what happened then? It was the industrial age. So when people started creating machines, the machines took over for the people. So instead of having all these farmers and all these people to harvest the land and to prepare the land and till the soil, and whatever needs to be done. I'm not a farmer, so I don't know all the terminology, but all the stuff that needed to be done, there was now machines that could do the work of the people. So what happened to the people? So people were up in a big uproar. They're like, "What the hell? Everybody's losing their jobs. We don't like the machines. Machines are bad. They're hurting people." Well, the reality is that machines made us much more productive. So we were able to get a lot more productivity out of the land without the manpower, without using and the cost of individuals working the land. So now those people, all these machines, for example, at the time it became the cars came out. So Ford started mass producing cars, and he had machines, but he needed people to run the machines and to do the assembly line. And what he said is like he wanted to attract these people away from the farmers, and so he said, "Hey, instead of working 7 days a week, why don't you come work in my factory, and I'll pay you a guaranteed income, and all you have to do is work 5 days a week." People are like, "Wow, that's awesome! Great! I don't have to be on the farm 7 days a week. I actually get to go home at 5 o'clock or whenever, and I get to spend time with my family, and you know what? I get some vacation too. That's awesome." So the 9 to 5 blossomed, and people loved it, and it was great. It was great because they were getting away from this 7 day a week. Now, is that still serving us now? I don't know. I mean, we still do it because it seems to be standard. It's a pattern that we've all just followed along. But it's possible to change. And Microsoft is now showing that a 4 day work week is productive for them. So maybe that works for them. And there's been people talking about the productivity may increase if people were working from home. So there's all these philosophies. There's so many different ways to do things, and you just have to realize that the way that you're doing things now, it may not be the right. Why are you doing things the way that you're doing things? Because the way that you're doing things now has gotten you to exactly where you are now. Everything that you've done in the past has brought you to where you are today. So, if you want to change what you are, what you've become, then you have to change the actions that you take on a daily basis. You have to change something. You can't expect your life to change, but you don't want to change anything. You can't expect yourself to lose weight, but you don't want to change the way that you eat. It doesn't make sense. It's not going to happen. These are the nuggets, people. I hope you're picking up what I'm dropping down. You guys see any questions? I know we've got a bunch of people jumping on. All of my Facebook people, I would have really appreciated if you hit the share button so we can get some more people. How's my candy lover doing? Is she making any comments? Okay. Let's see. I saw something about is lipo okay for diabetics? Yes. So diabetes is very common, and diabetics can, technically they can have any surgeries. However, with diabetes, it can slow down your healing process, particularly if your sugars are not controlled. So what we're looking for is we're looking to ensure that your sugars are under control. So there's certain tests that you can do. It's called a hemoglobin A1C, and it shows you how your sugars have been controlled over the past 3 months. So that we basically there's a certain standard that we follow. You get this test now. Typically, I don't treat diabetics, and I certainly don't treat you for your diabetes. So, in situations of anybody who has medical conditions, what I would do is I'd recommend that they get a medical clearance from their physician, their treating physician, someone who, the doctor who supposedly knows more about them and can clear them based off of their standards. So yes, diabetes, it is possible, but it's just important that you keep it under control. So, but that's a lifelong thing for you. If you're a diabetic, it's really important for you to keep your sugars under control. So, um, I know we do restrict from that standpoint, but it's something that you need to learn how to restrict yourself, because diabetes is a terrible, terrible disease. Um, and I know that a lot of people, a lot of doctors even, they say, they underplay the effects of diabetes. But as you get heavier, you're at a much higher risk for diabetes, and it's much harder to control your sugars, because the fat itself will, I'm not sure exactly on a physiological level what happens, but the fat itself causes more resistance to insulin. So it doesn't allow the insulin brings the sugar and gets it out of the blood, and it allows your body to actually use the sugars. So it uses insulin to do that. Now, the fat makes it so your body is more resistant to the use of insulin. So that's why people develop this type 2 diabetes where they have insulin resistance. So you got to take care of that stuff. And liposuction has been shown to reduce the need for insulin. So if you guys have any questions today, again, we're talking about liposuction. If you guys have questions about fat transfer, cool procedure, um, and I love this 360 lipo. This contest that we're running now is it's an opportunity for 5 individuals to win and get 50% off their procedure.
Another question about if you get liposuction and tummy tuck, will you have a baby afterwards?
You can always have a baby. We can't stop that. I mean, unless you don't have your ovaries, the liposuction is not going to stop that. The tummy tuck's not going to stop that. You can still have it. There's, obviously there's consequences. I'm not sure about tummy tuck. I don't do tummy tucks. I don't like tummy tucks. And when you get liposuction, there's no need for a tummy tuck. But with liposuction, I can tell you from experience, from personal experience, my sister had liposuction, and after her liposuction, she had 2 babies. And from what she told me, when she got back down to her ideal weight, or the weight that she was when she was happy with the results of the liposuction, when she got that back down to that weight, after the pregnancies, everything was the same. Minus, obviously, if you get stretch marks and things of that nature, that's not necessarily related to the liposuction, but you got to realize what we're doing with liposuction. So I'm just going to educate you a little bit. The liposuction is the physical removal of fat cells. So getting pregnant doesn't affect it at all. It really, it doesn't make any difference at all, because the fat cells that you have, once we remove them, they're gone. So getting pregnant is not going to, you're not producing new fat cells. What you're doing is the same fat cells that you have left, they're expanding and they're swelling. So if we remove the fat cells, then those fat cells just aren't in your body, and they can't go through that process. Okay. Did I see anything else?
Just some general questions about if you get a 360 lipo, can you smoke?
Smoke what? I mean, nowadays it's like you can smoke, So, if you're talking about cigarettes, you shouldn't smoke cigarettes. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but there's a problem with cigarettes. They kill you. So yeah, smoking cigarettes, clearly you don't want to do that. And I'll tell you one of the reasons why, and I'm sure you're probably talking about smoking weed, but I'm going to go with the smoking cigarettes. Smoking cigarettes is, what it does is it constricts the small blood vessels. So if you smoke cigarettes after having any procedure, liposuction or any other procedure for that matter, what it does is when it constricts those small blood vessels, it reduces the potential for your body to heal. So you have a slower healing process, and you'll get more complications in any surgery. This is not just liposuction, any surgery. So it's not recommended to smoke cigarettes. Now, smoking marijuana, different story. Be honest with you, I don't have any statistics on that. But right now, the belief now is that smoking marijuana and CBD is like a save-all, going to cure the world of cancer and everything else. So I just don't know. But I don't restrict that. If you choose to do that, that's your choice. And if I don't know if there's going to be any consequences, but if you choose to do that, then the consequences will ultimately fall on you. As will anything else that you choose. We all make our own choices. If we choose to eat certain things, then time will tell what your choices lead to. No one can hide from time. Yeah. Yeah, no one can hide from time. I'm sorry. It's like whatever you do, you make choices. Everybody makes their choices, and eventually those choices show, and nobody can hide. So that's why it's like the people that are in shape, like you can tell. I mean, clearly, they're doing something. They're doing something, and they're doing it a lot. The people that are not in shape, the people that have gained weight, and people tell me this all the time, like, no, but I work out every day, and I always eat the right foods. I mean, bullshit. I'm just calling bullshit, because time, you can't hide from it. And you can lie to me all day long, and I don't, whatever, but time will tell. And so and then here's the thing is people believe they're doing the right things, but if you're not getting the results that you want, then you're clearly not doing the right things. So you need to change. So what does that mean? People say I'm eating the right foods. Well, if you're not healthy to the point where you feel healthy, then you're not doing the right things. You need to change and do something different. So there's lots of different, belief structures in diet and nutrition nowadays. So you have to try something different. I mean, there's lots of different philosophies out there. There's fasting. Intermittent fasting is a popular thing now. I've done that. I like it. I feel better. You know, the weird thing is when you eat less, you actually feel better. Like when I eat now, like if I typically don't like. I've been vegetarian now for like a year, a little over a year now. But I've been slowly starting to add meat back in because I was vegetarian for health purposes. I wanted to be healthy, but I do like meat. So, but I find when I eat meat now, I feel different, and so that has been a factor that has kind of pushed me back into um, being more vegan or vegetarian or eating more vegetable based diet. So it's like whatever you're doing, if you don't like the outcome of or what's can we move the TV away? It's kind of distracting for me. Yeah, it's just really like, unless we're gonna get some pictures or something up on there. It's like a strobe light. I'm like starting to get dizzy and stuff. But instead we have Club My Shape Lipo. Do you guys like these lights? These are kind of cool, right? Yeah, I think I thought it was kind of cool, so that's why he's been doing it. So, but if you guys don't like it, let me know. We can change it. But I thought it was kind of cool. It seems to liven this up a little bit. Let's see. Priscilla on Instagram says, I know you will save my life after 360 procedure, less physical pain, and no more trigger injections. It's kind of interesting. Many of you may not know that I have a history in orthopedic surgery. Before I got into liposuction, I did orthopedic surgery for about 6 years. When I first got out of school, I did sports medicine. So I actually did spine surgery. I did hand surgery. I did some sports medicine with arthroscopies, like knees and shoulders. I did tons and tons of joint replacements, shoulder replacements, knee replacements, hip replacements, all that stuff. So I have a lot of experience in surgery. So, but one of the interesting things from that experience is that the weight that you have, from a physics standpoint, it puts more pressure on your joints. So with every step that you take, all of your weight gets put onto that one side. So if you have knee pain, and the pressure that you put with each step is, I want to say it's like 3 times. So like 10 pounds will actually reduce the pressure on your knee by about 30 pounds. So if you can imagine, that would reduce the pain, right? The other thing, the weight that people carry, it tends to pull your body in different ways. So particularly when you have, the fat in the front of the belly, it pulls you forward. You have large breasts, it pulls you forward. Well, that puts stress on your back. And that leads to now time. Again, you can't hide from time, right? So if you have these negative things in your life, you can't hide from time. Eventually, it's going to cause an issue. So the issue is it causes spinal stenosis, it causes problems in your back, it causes nerve damage and issues like that. So you get shooting pains down your legs. You may need trigger point injections, as this one person mentioned. So definitely reducing the fat will help those type of symptoms. Now, you won't see any studies on this, and nobody talks about it. None of the doctors. And one of the big parts is that you got to realize that insurance doesn't cover these. They call it cosmetic procedures. And they keep wanting to call it cosmetic because they don't want to cover it. And it is what it is. But you won't read any articles talking about these type of things, because if it was the case, if they did prove that when you do lose the weight, when you do remove the fat, if they did prove that, then the insurance may, you get your insurance company to cover it, but they don't want to believe it. So nobody's doing studies on that stuff. So maybe one of these days I'll do some studies and get some results on this stuff. But okay, I can't wait to get rid of this fat after 4 kids. I want my body back. That's right.
Could you just look at YouTube and tell them you are looking at comments on YouTube too?
Yes. Okay. YouTube is let's see, how can can you see the comments come up on YouTube, and then they go away so quickly. So it's like if I'm not staring at it, it just disappears. So if you guys can keep an eye on that, I'm sorry, guys. I know I neglect this. Is hard. I have like, you guys probably don't realize I have 3 cameras in front of me. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook right now, and I'm trying to scan back and forth and keep up with all this stuff. So I need some help.
I'm gonna do some call outs from YouTube.
Uh-huh.
Jessica Perry says she's coming in 2020 all the way from Louisiana.
Oh, cool. Jessica Perry?
Yeah.
That's not the that's not Jessica. Jessica, is it Jessica? No, well, who's it? Katy Perry.
Katy Perry's
Whatever. I don't know. Whatever.
So that's pretty cool.
Let's see. Priscilla says acupuncture, and I don't know what that is. Qigong. Is that like that sucking thing? Have you seen the cupping? Pretty cool. I'm a huge fan of alternative medicine, naturalistic medicine, Eastern medicine. Huge fan. And I would rather see myself and my family using alternative medicine instead of traditional medicine, instead of our Western medicine. The drug companies, I hate them, and I think that the drug companies are just out to make your money, and they're not looking to cure anything. They're only looking to keep you on their drugs forever. And those drugs, if you may not realize this, but most of those drugs, well, of course you realize this because now on TV they have to tell you, when you take a drug, it's got all these side effects, diarrhea and heartache and headaches and dizziness and nausea and vomiting, all this crap that it causes. And they do cause those things. So don't think that you're infallible and you're not going to have these issues. Again, you can't hide from time. You take these medications long enough, you're going to start getting those complications. And then what happens? You should take another drug is what they tell you. Really? Does that make sense to you? And if it does, then you're going to continue doing what you're doing. But if it doesn't make sense to you, then you should start exploring other options. And there's plenty of other options out there. Nowadays, information is abundant. Knowledge is everywhere. You just need to find it. So you got to go do your own research, and you got to go find these things, because not everything works for everyone, and not everything makes sense to everyone. Like it may not make sense to you to do like acupuncture. If you don't like that, then don't do it. But if you don't want to take like narcotic pain medication, then maybe you should try acupuncture. It makes sense to me, right? But honestly, my opinion, you can take it or leave it. My opinion is preventative. So I would prefer to prevent things from happening. Then you don't have to deal with treating yourself. Let's see, Priscilla says you are a very kind, humble, intelligent human being. That was really nice. I don't know if they're buttering me up for the 360 content. Right. No, I do appreciate you guys making these comments. Let's see. Okay, say I've been trying to schedule a consult for breast fat transfer. Okay. Just so you guys know, when you sign up for these for this contest, and again, the link is we've pinned the link on Instagram. It's on Facebook in the post. Have we done anything on YouTube? How did the YouTube people sign up? Okay, we're gonna try and figure something out. Maybe we'll put a comment there. But yeah, either way, anybody, if you wanted to, there's also on our website. There's a link there as well, myshapelipo.com. Do we have it in our what are they called?
Front page on myshapelipo.com?
Yeah,
Yes, we do.
yeah. So we have it on our website. So you can always sign up there. I think it's cool that you hold these live discussions. Well, that's good. So tomorrow I may or may not be on. I got a really busy day sucking fat, and then I have a really exciting trip I'm going on. I'm headed to Brazil. I'm sorry, not Brazil. I'm headed to Peru on Wednesday night, and I'm actually going to be going to Cusco and Machu Picchu, and I'm going to be doing this awesome ayahuasca experience, and this is kind of like a spiritual awakening. So if many of you follow my personal page, you may have seen that I put a post about that the other day. Let's see. My brother always says, "Why do I let time dictate my life?" He said, "I do things when I want, not when time tells." So that's something that, people always say. It's like we give we restrict ourselves. Especially when, like, for example, you may not travel because you can only go for 2 days. You're like, well, I want to go for a week. So if I can't go for a week, then I'm just not going to go. Or I want to go out, I want to go out with my friends, but I only have an hour, so it's not worth it. So you restrict yourself. But if you just do things and stop thinking about the time, stop thinking about how you have to restrict yourself or how you'll be restricted, you'll be amazed at what you're able to accomplish. And the reality is, when you go and do these things, like traveling, I travel a lot, and I was one of those people that I believed, like, I didn't want, well, I would never, travel across the country, spend, 4 or 5 hours on a flight to just go there for a weekend. That's crazy. Why would I do that? But the truth is that, when I did it, it was a fun experience. And even if I just spent one day, it was awesome. And I had that memory. And so, that's that. What's up, Rainy Waters on YouTube? That's what life's about. It's the experience. And so, you know, you're looking to get a feeling. So whenever you do something, you got to realize your happiness, it occurs in your mind. You don't have, like, nothing needs to happen for you to be happy. You choose to be happy. Let me repeat that, because this is another one of those nuggets that I'm going to be dropping on you. Nothing has to happen for you to be happy. You choose to be happy. So even though, and if you see people in your life, you're like, how could they be happy, and they're, like someone just died and they're smiling and they're laughing. How could they? Well, those people are choosing to be happy. They're choosing. It's a choice. Now, like, if I have a rough day and I come home and I'm in a bad mood, I'm choosing to be in a bad mood, because I'm and I rationalize it, and I say I'm in a bad mood because I had a long day and I'm tired. Well, what if I just chose to be happy and chose to be in a better mood? Now, again, this is one of the things. It's way easier to say this stuff than actually do it, because you have to be conscious of it, and you have to get out of your habits, get out of your patterns, and be aware of what you're doing. Let's see. I'm trying to. This stuff pops up on YouTube now, and I'm trying to read it quick, but it fades so quickly. Homeless suites just around the corner. Take plenty of peroxide. Okay. I don't know, I think someone was answering. Ooh, wait. I can scroll back. YouTube. Cool lights. Love the lights. See, people like the lights. They like the lights. I'm so nervous from Michigan, and I'm flying back home the next day of my procedure. Sylvia. Okay, so it is possible. So, this is another question people ask all the time. So how long do I have to stay if I'm flying in from out of state? So my personal recommendation is flying the night before, because you don't want to be late for your procedure. If you're late or you miss your procedure, you end up forfeiting the entire funds. And first of all, I don't like that, but we had to institute that policy because people didn't show up. And you got to realize, as a small business, if people don't show up, it's lost income, it's lost revenue. So that lost revenue, that's the money that we would have paid our employees, and our employees show up, we still have to pay them. Lights are still on, we still have to pay rent. So if you don't show up, it's just like it's this time slot that we could have put someone else in and produced revenue to pay our bills. So it's not fair to us. So we had to institute that policy. So show up early. That's the number one thing. So show up the night before, or the day before, and then get your procedure the next day. And then that day you're gonna go back to the hotel and rest. And you're gonna spend at least one more night in the hotel, if not two. If you, two would be preferable, but I know some of you individuals want to get back to work as quick as possible. So it is possible to leave. Now, what's the reasoning behind this? What I've noticed is the people that try to leave quickly, they'll leave the same day as the procedure. Again, it is possible. Don't recommend it. But those people, what happens is that after these procedures, we use a lot of fluids to get you numb. So after the procedure, you're gonna be draining this fluid. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. It's an inconvenience. So you're gonna have the most drainage the day of and the next day after the procedure. So the more time you can give yourself, the more likely you're gonna have no issues. So that I would definitely recommend staying 1 or 2 nights after the procedure. That would be ideal. Is he answering questions? Yes, I'm answering questions. Is Lipo okay to get a head start on the weight loss? Absolutely. And I'll tell you what's even better with this. So the question was, is Lipo a way to get a head start on your weight loss? A lot of people tell me that it's like they call it like their jump start, because when you're like dieting and you're exercising and you don't see results, it's frustrating and annoying, and that's when you quit. So, oh, look at that. Who's that handsome guy? um, you know, it's frustrating and they quit. So when you see the results of liposuction, that's when you get motivated. You get exciting. You're like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And that's, it's like that kickstart, that jump start. So absolutely. And the other thing to consider, when you lose weight, you're not actually losing anything. All you're doing is you're reducing the size of the individual cell. Those cells are still there though. And so that's why, if you don't continue with those same patterns, those same diets, the same exercise, you don't continue with that, then those same fat cells are just going to expand out again. So if you go back to doing the same stuff that you were doing in the past, then you're going to get the same results eventually. It's just a matter of time. So, let's see, absolutely. If you want to lose the weight, losing the fat cells first will get you that head start. The other thing is that also we can define the shape. So it's unlikely that you're going to get an hourglass figure just losing weight. With liposuction, we physically take the fat from those sides and carve out the shape. People on Facebook, please hit the share button so we can get some more people on there. Appreciate it. So just so you guys are aware, with this contest, the winners are going to be those who are very active on our social media. So liking, commenting, sharing, anything that you can do to help us gain more exposure for 360 lipo. That's what I want for you for this. So that's the goal. That's the whole purpose of this contest. Do we have any pictures we can put up? Like before and afters. Okay. If you get liposuction and a tummy tuck, can you have a baby? Was that an old? Am I like way behind? Yeah. When you do a BBL, do you inject the subcutaneous in the subcutaneous tissue? Yeah. So when we do a BBL, Brazilian butt lift, for one, okay, the Brazilian butt lift, for those of you who are not aware of what it is, the first thing is we take fat from somewhere. So we do that through liposuction. So we're extracting the fat, then we take those fat cells and then we can re-inject them back into the butt. So, or the breasts. In fact, you can inject fat back into anywhere. So,
I'm trying to find it, it's like, because I think it's connected to that.
oh, okay. If you want to push that over and you can mess around with it. So this is what happens in lives, right? I mean, like this is live. So you guys get what you get, right? There's something I said. You get what you get. So don't throw a fit. That's what they told our kids in preschool. Get what you get. So don't throw a fit. What's up, Edward Jackson? Edward, one of my good friends from San Diego. Also in the healthcare field. All right. Priscilla's totally buttering me up. She's like, I love that humor.
Well, you do.
Okay. Do you travel doing my lipo in other cities? No. That would be so. So I actually thought about that. So this is like I'm innovative. I like to do new things and try different stuff, right? So I thought it would be really cool if we can get like a one of those big 18 wheelers, and we can have a mobile office, right? We can go different locations and do procedures out of this thing, which you know might sound weird, but it's different, right? It would be kind of cool. What if we could go from different locations, and people can schedule for like Reno, and we'll go up there on these days, and we'll be in here and there, just move around. Now the problem with this is that theoretically it's possible if we do it in state, but for me to do out of state or anywhere else, I have to be licensed in each one of these states. So now, again, theoretically it's possible. I can go get licensed in all 50 states. And basically I just need to set up satellite offices in these different places. But I'm one person, so it's way easier if you just come to me. I'm only one person, so it doesn't make sense for me to come to you and then go to the next person and then go to it just doesn't make sense. So we have our office in Las Vegas, and you can come to me, and it makes it way easier. All right, we got some cool pictures. Yeah, if you can, because I think I'm having. Okay, there we go. That's better. Okay, I'll kind of scooch aside. I know it's if you can kind of dim the light a little bit, it's a little bit bright. So they on the screen, I don't know if you can do that, but especially on Facebook and YouTube. I don't know how you guys are seeing. Can you guys see this well? These photos on Instagram, it seems to look great. Someone says I'm only a water walker. That's good. You should only drink water. There's no reason for you to drink anything other than water. I know people, they're like, well, I don't like the taste of water. Well, water doesn't taste like anything. Just drink it. Your body is like 80% water, and without it, it can't function. So none of your organs function properly. Your brain, like the brain is like, I don't know what they said, it's like 85% water. But without water, these organs don't function properly. So if they don't function properly, what does that mean? Again, you can't hide from time. You keep doing if you do things that are causing problems, it's a small problem. Everything matters. Everything matters. So when you start saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter. I had dessert. It doesn't matter." Bullshit. Someone's got to tell you. Bullshit. Okay, someone's got to tell you this. And if I'm not there, then hopefully your significant other or your friend is telling you bullshit. Because everything matters. If you don't go to the gym today, it matters. Because what does it turn into? It means it turns into you don't go to the gym tomorrow, you don't go the next day. You decide that you wanna cheat on your diet. You cheat on it today. Well, why not cheat on it the next day? Why not? And this is the mental game, right? So all this is mental. All of it is mental. So if you decide that you're going to cheat on your beliefs, cheat on your thought process and the goals that you're trying to achieve, then you're just not going to achieve them. And so that will separate the achievers and the people who don't. The people who get what they want and the people who don't get what they want. And if you're an individual who's not getting what you figured out, you need to test, you need to try something different. Okay, is there a limit on how much fat you use for the BBL? Yes, there is a limit. So, just like a water balloon, there's only so much you can fill it up until it bursts, right? So the butt, it doesn't burst, but what happens is the skin will stretch out only so much, and everybody's different. So some people, as you know, have very elastic skin, and some people have very tight skin. So when I'm injecting the fat in there, it'll expand out until the skin gets so tight that there's so much pressure pushing on the fat that it pushes the fat right out. And so literally when I inject it in, it squirts back out. I know it sounds kind of gross. It actually.
A bigger version of these
Okay.
ones.
Well, let's just move that away because you can't really see anything. It's just a distraction. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Do you do virtual consultations? So, the consultations that we do them over the phone, but we are also offering video consultations if you want to do that. So, if you just have to let us know how you want to do this. If you want to do it through the phone, then you'll send us pictures and we review the pictures, then get you on the phone and answer all of your questions. I've been trying to do a consultation. One of these days, I'm gonna work it out. I have an individual, and she's probably gonna yell at me because we're not prepared to do it yet. But we're trying. We're gonna be doing a live consultation here on social media with an individual, and we're trying to get it set up so we can get her on TV behind us. So we're just trying to figure out technologically how to make that happen. But we're gonna do a consultation live so you guys can get an idea of what that means. Now, if you're obviously you're entering this contest, you're serious about getting 360 lipo. The next step is getting your consultation. So, scheduling your consultation. Once you sign up for the contest, you're going to be getting an email, and in those emails, there's links. What's up, Sophie? You'll be getting links that will allow you to schedule your consultation. And again, consultations are going to be done over the phone or through video. Most of our patients, nearly 70% of our patients, are flying in from out of state. So if you're from out of state, don't be scared. We try to make it as easy as possible. And you might wonder, why would I fly out of state when there's someone closer to me that does these procedures? Well, you should go see them and go look at their results. Because that'll make it a decision really easy, because I promise you, they're just not as good. And there's no way that they can be as good, and there's a simple reason. I just do way too much of this liposuction thing. I specialize in it. This is all I do, and I've done thousands and thousands of procedures. So your local guy doesn't specialize. Ask them how many they do. I want to ask them how many they've done. Look at all the results. If it's comparable, then go for it. And if things don't work out, I can fix it. I do that a lot. We have lots of people that go get procedures from other people, then ask me to fix it but the thing that sucks about that is then you're paying more. You're paying essentially double, because you're paying for one procedure that you didn't like, and then you have to pay for it to get fixed. And doing a revision, the results are never as satisfying as the first time. So it's better to just get it done right the first time. And you should never, let me repeat that, you should never need liposuction in the same area again. If I do the job right, if I get enough fat out, you should never need liposuction in that area again. That's not the belief of most doctors. And I can tell you this from experience. I have a lot of other friends that do liposuction, and their belief, what they tell their patients is, we'll just take out this amount of fat, and if you want more taken out, we can do it again later. That's bullshit, because then you got to pay for it again. They're not going to do it for free. You have to pay for it. So why not just do it right the first time and then never have to get it done again, ever? Makes a lot more sense to me. Now, they might be thinking, well, great, they'll come back to me, I get double the money and everything's great, and I'm happy because but that's bullshit. I'm not in it for me, I'm in it for you. I'm in it to get you the best results. And if I can get you the best results, you'll send more of your friends, then I'll make my money. But my first thought is, how can I make it right for you? How can I do the best for you? And the more I've focused on that, more people come to me. And so it's really just a mindset. It's the way you think about things. And what I found again, we'll go back to this. This is like the theme of this whole thing. You can't hide from time, right? And these doctors that do these type of things, they can't hide from time. Eventually, it's going to come back and bite them in the ass. So I prefer to do the right thing the first time and don't make mistakes. So that's just my philosophy, and that's the way I do everything in my life. I try not to make mistakes, and I've made plenty of mistakes in my life. Don't get me wrong, I made plenty of mistakes, but I try not to make the same mistakes twice. Is there any truth to when you have lipo, it can speed up the process of cancer cells? That's interesting. I've never heard that. I don't know that answer to that, Camille. I'm sorry. Um, I've never heard that before, but it doesn't make sense that that would be the case. But again, lots of weird, crazy shit happens, and I don't know everything. I know a lot of stuff, but I don't know everything. Okay, if I get a BBL, how much fat can you put in? Laura, I'll put as much fat as I possibly can. And so, what do I mean by that? As I described earlier, you may not have been on here, but um, the body stretches out, the skin stretches out, and there's only so much I can put in there. So, typically, with any fat transfer, we'll inject as much as we can for that individual, and the skin expands out, and um, you'll get what you can get in there. And so that's the biggest possible we can go in one procedure. Now, what if you get a second procedure? Now, with fat transfer, this is a different ballgame here. Now, if you want to go larger, it's kind of a step process. So we can inject fat in there today, you recover, then 3 months later, after you've lost whatever fat you've lost, and your body's accommodated to new fat cells, we can go back in and inject more fat cells and go a little bit bigger, and it expands out again. And your body accommodates these things, and it'll stretch, and um, it's possible to continue to get larger and larger with fat transfer. So it just depends on what your goal is. I know some individuals are looking to go as big as possible. Um, you know, I'm not going to say any names, but Mrs. Kim K has put a lot of fat in her butt. I can't say the full name, right? Or can I? I don't know. Whatever.
You said it before.
Yeah. Kim K. Let's see. I need an article stated if you have lipo. Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know about that cancer, so that's interesting. I have to go do some research on that. Okay.
And this LAGC85, she's like having a fit. She's saying, can somebody read comments on here?
Where are we at?
I'll read it first.
Okay.
'Cause, let's see. How much is each section to get done?
Okay. This is a pricing question.
Yes.
Okay, so all of our prices are on the website, and I'll rattle them off really quick here. We charge for liposuction is $12.99 per area. For fat transfer process, so you have to get liposuction is in addition to the fat transfer process. For the fat transfer process is $2,000. So you get your liposuction, you get however many areas you get, and then you can transfer that, and that's just an additional cost for the fat transfer. Now, if you have loose skin, concerns about loose skin, you want to get the tightest skin possible, then we use a Smart Lipo laser, and that's $650 per area. And it's an additional charge and this additional machine. The laser, what it is, we pass it underneath the skin and it heats up the inner surface of the skin, causing a contraction. And it's also been shown through studies that it stimulates collagen growth for about 6 months after the procedure. So your maximum benefits about 6 months after the procedure. You get the thickest and tightest skin. Okay.
And she goes, LOL, thank you guys.
No problem. Okay, we're gonna end here soon. There's medical questions. I see something about lupus. So any medical issues, like we can do lipo on a lot of different medical issues, but ultimately you need to be healthy enough for a surgery, and any surgery for that matter. But liposuction is a very basic procedure that has very few side effects. So if you have any health concerns, make sure you sign up for your consultation so we can address your specific issue. Thank you, Instagram. Facebook, YouTube, I appreciate each one of you for jumping on here today. Tomorrow I hope to be on, but I have a really busy day sucking fat, so I may not make it on. and I am headed to Peru. So we'll see you guys after that. I'll be gone for about 10 days. But thank you again for coming on, Audra, as always. I appreciate each one of you. But you guys have a great day. And Camille, I'm gonna look into that cancer cell thing. That's kind of interesting. I haven't heard anything on it, but anything's possible. And you know, the hope is that like I said, everyone should be healthy when you have liposuction because this is a, an elective procedure, meaning you're choosing to get it. So you need to be in a good state of health where we're not going to cause more problems. And that's our Hippocratic oath is what they call it. That do no harm. So we try not to do things that would cause more problems for you. So if you do have any health problems, we want to make sure they're addressed prior to having any liposuction. For example, if you had a hernia, you got to get that fixed before we can go ahead and do liposuction in the area. But it is possible to do liposuction after you've had the hernia repaired. So there's a lot, liposuction, anything is possible, so we just need to figure out how to do it. So thank you guys so much for jumping on here. I'm tired, I've had a long day, but I'll see you back hopefully tomorrow. But if I don't make it tomorrow, and then I'll see you back in a couple weeks. Maybe I'll try and go live from Peru. That'd be kind of cool. So I'll see if I can jump on, maybe be in Machu Picchu and show you guys a little bit of there, and we'll answer some liposuction questions from Machu Picchu. Wouldn't that be fun? All right, guys, have a great day. I'll talk to you later.
Good live.